Hi, I'm Jon Atack.
I'm Sam Atack.
And we're going to be talking about fake news probably quite a lot in the coming weeks and months. And today what we're going to look at is who should I trust? So who should I trust?
Me.
Yeah, and why is that?
I don't know, actually. It's not a very good reason, is it? Because I use evidence in what I say.
Evidence. And generally that is really the thing, isn't it? That Rush Limbaugh and various other American pundits just make stuff up. And here's a clear differentiation. If you find out that somebody makes stuff up or that there are contradictions in the information they're giving, it's a very good idea to not trust them as an authority. We've talked before about the confusion over the word authority, that somebody can be an authority because they've got a gun, or because they're a judge, or a cop, or a teacher, or they have a position of authority. And that is what's called rank authority. And then there are people who have authority because they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think we have an awful problem in that people who don't know what they're talking about and are inclined to distort and invent information are offering information. So just using a Google search and seeing what you get, that will give you the top rankings. It will just tell you who's being looked at the most. It's a fair idea to look to academic expertise, people who've actually studied things. We live in a time where there's a kind of anti-scientific movement going on because of the mistaken notion that scientists form a kind of cult. They form a kind of group. They're the scientists and they're over there and they've got their priests and their worship. Now, it is absolutely true that in the past there have been ideas put forward as scientifically true and valid, which have proved to be wrong. But science is not a club, it's not a group of people, it's a method, it's an approach. So it's not like a religion, it's a way of investigating. And it means that you can, with new evidence or with a better interpretation of evidence, you can change your mind about what something is. But looking for the best evidence, the first thing is to decide whether the source is trustworthy or not. So who told you? Oh, fat bloke at the pub. And that's to quote from a sketch show, by the way. I'm not being rude about obese people. Fat bloke at the pub told me that there are dragons flying around the forests these days.
Oh.
Must be true then. All right. Evidence. Authority. Confirming where an idea comes from and what the value is. I mean, this week we've just had the situation that anybody flying to the UK from Austria now has to go into self-isolation for 14 days. What's more, the government is saying that even if you test negative for the coronavirus, you still have to stay at home for 14 days. So I would suggest that whatever authority the UK government is listening to is a half-wit. Because if you don't have the virus, you don't need to be in quarantine. So there's a danger even with official sources, the UK government and their so-called SAGE committee, which is actually named after the herb, not the wisdom.
Good.
SAGE, I think. So we've been given, we have to be able to check advice, and that can lead to adopting ideas about plandemics or David Icke being a reputable source of information. David Icke is an interesting gatherer of information who also, by his own admission, has taken the incredible hallucinogen ayahuasca, which is not like taking LSD or something of that level. Ayahuasca is you see visions and people, walk in on you. I've talked with a couple of people who've taken it. While he was under the influence of ayahuasca, David Icke, whose basic authority in life is that he used to be the goalkeeper for Ipswich soccer team, David Icke realised that the British royal family are actually transdimensional lizards. Now, he has actually withdrawn that statement But it does make me a little bit suspicious about his authority and other things. He says, I took this drug and I saw that.
Well, it came directly from his own experience. So
yeah, the experience of his own imagination.
yeah, true.
And that's a danger for us all. Believing in dreams and hallucinations is a danger for us all. It's good to check what scientists say. I mean, when I left Scientology in 1983, we'd been told to read Adele Davis's books, and let's eat right to keep fit. So that's the title I particularly remember, and to take ridiculous doses of vitamins. So I set about actually studying what I'd been taught, and to study that, I read a book by a professor of nutrition, and he disagreed. He said a vitamin is something that you need. You have to have a certain amount of, or you will get a particular condition. So you need 180 milligrams of vitamin C a day, recommended daily allowance, so that you won't get scurvy, which was a plague for sailors, which is why apparently the British people are called limeys in some part of the world, because rather than our navy having lemons, they had limes.
Is that sensible?
Well, everyone else in the world is a lemony, and that they were getting their vitamin C, and that was fine. They could have eaten raw onions; they'd have got as much vitamin C from them, frankly. Yeah, and that doesn't work, does it? Oniony, that's not a good word like limey. So I read this book, and what I try to do is, if I can see that somebody has, they've studied something, they've worked on it, then I will look at what they have to say, and then I'll find somebody who disagrees with them and look at what they have to say. I do think that generally professors, are interesting, but I've found that there are professors who got things terribly wrong. So the first thing to understand about fake news is you can check it. You can go and have a look. Unfortunately, there are people who think it's good fun, like the people who started the QAnon story, to make up hoaxes. And, even when they walk away, I mean, this happened with spiritualism, the Fox sisters, who invented this thing about, speaking to spirits and all of this. And one of the sisters actually explained how they'd done all of the tricks, which Derren Brown is quite capable of doing. You can write on a slate that's wrapped in a...
Yeah.
I've seen him do it, it's incredible. Yeah. People didn't believe her.
So like the QAnon thing as well.
Spiritualism continues to this day because people would like to believe it. So the first thing, and as I say, we will talk a great deal more about this ad infinitum, hopefully not ad nauseum. But the first thing is check your authority source, check the source of your evidence, and sit back and think about how trustworthy that is. So this is just a very short piece about that. And thank you for your time and attention. Wish you the best of luck, whatever luck is. And I'm John Atack.
I'm Sam.
Thank you. Hi, John here. Thanks for watching. We'd appreciate it very much if you would click like, as well as subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Every dollar helps, and we welcome new patrons on Patreon, or you can make a one-off payment with any currency through PayPal. Thanks so much.
Is that sensible?
Well, everyone else in the world is a lemony.